Alright, check it. I have this friend that one night he went to this club called The Shadow in Manhattan. He went to the Shadow, he went by himself, and at this nightclub, it was, it was packed. He was standing on the outside, like the dance floor. He was just standing there, just watching everybody, and he saw this one girl. Not all the girls that he saw this really tall, nice-looking woman. And the girl that he was looking at, it's like he noticed that not a lot of guys was approaching her. Like, they were, I guess, intimidated by her beauty. Her body looked really nice, and she was pretty, and guys were just afraid to approach. So he decided that he would go to the bar and get that liquid courage in him, and then, he would approach her. So he had like maybe 2 or 3 drinks, and then he thought he was ready to approach. So he started to strike up a conversation before asking to dance with her. And he told me out of all the girls that was in there, that's the one he really wanted. He said that she was really, he said that she had a nice body, she was tall, pretty in the face, all of that. So he was like, this is the one I want. So he starts dancing with her, dance a few songs or whatever. Then he went and asked to buy her a drink. She accepted. So they're sitting at the bar, they're drinking, they're talking, they're laughing. So they had like maybe 2 drinks at the bar, then they went back on the dance floor. Now, while they were on the dance floor, guys is checking them out, and they dancing all seductively, and he's feeling her up on the dance floor, and she's grabbing his crotch. And in his mind, he's saying to me that in his mind, oh, he's taking her home tonight, he's getting that, he's gonna smash that or whatever. He just knew that if she's feeling him up and they feeling each other up, it's definitely going down, that night. So they're dancing, they're sweating, they really getting into it, and at some point in the evening, he whispered to us, like, listen, let's get out of this, go back to my place. And she said, fine, let's go. So he said a big smile came across his face. He was like, and his dick got really hard. He was like, yeah, I'm getting this. So they leave the club, and on the way to his house, she's giving him head while he's driving. He's feeling good. He's like, yeah, I can't believe this. I got this bad chick out of the club that everybody wanted, and I got her. He was like, I'm gonna enjoy this pussy. So he's thinking of all these things that he's gonna do once he get her there. How he's gonna lay her down, take her clothes off, eat her out, do all this other stuff, doggy style. He said he's really gonna enjoy her. So they get to the house. Well, actually, they get in the elevator. So while they're in the elevator, she's giving him head again. And his mind is blown that this girl is like really on him like that. So they get in the house. The apartment is dark, right? The apartment is dark, and they start like taking articles of clothing off, and articles of clothing start coming off. And again, he lays on the bed. She's giving him head. He comes in her mouth, and he's enjoying it. So now he announces to her that he really wants to have sex with her, and he didn't have any condoms, and she didn't ask, so he was gonna raw dog her. He was gonna go raw, and he was gonna fuck the shit out. That was his plan. But then she said, I have something to tell you. And when she said that, he like sobered up real quick. He got real, like something came over him, like, this isn't right. Like that something I gotta tell you thing came across him, that like, okay, something is about to go totally wrong. And he told me he sat straight up, and he listened to every word, every syllable. He was listening intently, that he wanted to make sure that he processes everything before he go off, if that's where it's gonna go. So she's So I'm saying, listen, I want you to respect me, and I don't want you to think I'm easy and all that. And then in his mind, he's saying, wait a minute, you just finished giving me head like all night. Easy? Okay, forget about that part. But you're giving me head all night, and now you're about to give me this moral thing, like, don't think of me as easy while I'm fucking you. Like, where is this going? So he's listening, and she said, listen, I really like you, and I want to see you again, but I really have to tell you that, I really like. He's like, listen, I don't think of you as easy. He's telling me this. He's saying to her that, I don't think you're easy, I really like you, and stuff like that. So he starts to kiss on her and start feeling her titties, and in his mind he was like, yeah, this feels like an implant, but he's kissing her, and then he goes to put his hand to finger pop her between, like, and she pushes his hand away and was like, listen, I really got to tell you something. And then right away he knew something was wrong, and he was about to flip, but he's like, all right, what is it? Because right now you're pissing me off, and you're holding, what is there to, what is going on? He said, well, I used to be a man. And then he looked at him and was like, you mean to tell me the whole time we're engaging in each other, you're gonna tell me that you're a man? You mean to tell me you couldn't say this like 3-4 hours ago? What is your problem? Like, he got really angry. He said that the blood rushed from his face. Like, he could feel the blood leaving his head, and he could feel himself feeling numb, and everything after that, he couldn't hear anything because he was so blinded and so, like, angry that he, like, blacked out. Like, he couldn't even feel himself. So he said that, not to laugh, but he said that the guy got up off the bed thinking that, he was gonna get swung on. So he started to back up while, my friend got off the bed and was like, putting his clothes on, and was like, listen, I think you should leave right now. He told him, you need to leave right now before it gets really ugly. And then, transgender, transsexual, I guess I don't know the correct term for it, but the guy decided to, leave, and didn't even ask for a cab or anything, just left. So my friend said that he didn't even walk this person to the door. He said that he stayed in the room, he heard the door close, then he went to the door, locked the door, and then immediately started to strip his clothes off and get in the shower and scrub his penis. He said he was scrubbing his penis, he was gargling, he was doing all kind of stuff. And at the time when he was in the shower, he started to question his masculinity. And he told me that, he was like thinking maybe he might be gay, that he's doing all this stuff and all that. And I told him, I said, listen, you're not gay. At first I didn't know what to tell him. I couldn't give him any advice, because how do you react to something like that other than just go off, or I don't know. But I explained to him, listen, it wasn't like you knew that was a man. It wasn't like you put your hand on her pussy and it turned out to be a dick or whatever the case is. I don't even think did she. I asked him, did she tell you she still had a vagina or a pussy or a dick or anything like that? He said he didn't even get to that point. It's like when he went to grab for it, he pushed his hand away, and they didn't even get into a conversation because he just wanted her to leave. He wanted him to leave. So he didn't know if he still had his package or it was operated on to be made out to be a vagina. He said he didn't even get that far. So I explained to him, listen, you're all man, based on what you're telling me, a lot of guys was looking at that guy thinking it was a woman, and he told me, he's like, yo, if you would have saw her or him, you would have been like, yo, that bitch is bad. And then I think back to when I saw like Jerry Springer. Jerry Springer did some type of show where guess the man or the woman, and the women that Jerry Springer and Maury and Jerry did this type of this show thing. And the one I saw with Maury, there was a line of beautiful women. Now, first off, when you're bringing them up because of the theme of the show, you know some of them are men. But all of these women were sitting up on that stage looking hot as hell. And then you had a few women that had like square jaws and looking a little mannish. And then you're saying to yourself, okay, that's probably the man. But then, they would ask each one to stand up and just introduce themselves and stuff like that. And it's like you're looking at this woman talking, and then they ask a guest, man or woman. And the woman would turn the card over and it would say, I'm a woman. And I thought it was a man because of the man's jaw and whatever. And then the girl standing directly next to her, titties, ass, hips, pretty in the face, all of that, would turn the card over and it would be a man. That is some scary shit. That is very scary. Very scary. It's like if you saw that man that turned the card over and said, I'm a man, walking in the street, I'm telling you, 10 times out of 10, you would think that's a bad bitch. And then there's this woman, or I don't know, transgendered person, Sydney Starr. Sydney Starr, basically on YouTube came out and came clean basically and said, listen, I'm a transgendered woman or whatever. And Sydney Starr has been in rap videos, been with rappers. To what extent, don't know that. As far as, sexually, did they get it on or whatever? I think she alluded to having a sexual situation with a few rappers, but she wouldn't name them. But there were pictures of Chingy and Sydney Starr floating around, and those pictures were supposedly ended a contract that Chingy was supposed to sign, or a record deal, and they dropped it because of the buzz that was on the internet about him with a transgendered person or whatever. And then she came out and was like, listen, I was born a boy, and I had operation and this and I saw, like, I'm listening to this guy talk, and nothing manly. I could pick out nothing manly about Sydney Starr. The titties, the ass, the hips, the face, even the voice is not deep or anything like that. I mean, she's definitely, she did good work. I mean, she looked like a woman to me. Now, if I didn't know of any Sydney Starr situation and I saw Sydney Starr in the street, I definitely would have hollered at her because she's bad. I mean, or he's bad. The guy looks hot. And then it's like, I'm looking at her and then I can't think of anything else but man. So when you look at these men looking better than a lot of women, it's like, what the it's scary. But then again, you look at that man looking like a woman, and all you can think is man. Now, there are some guys that like that kind of stuff. Me personally, I can never get past the man thing. I don't care how many operations you get. I don't care how many implants you put on your chest to give you breasts. I can't get past the man thing. and I can't get my dick hard for a man that's portraying himself to be a woman. And listen, gay bashing, I don't know all that other stuff, but I can tell you, for me, and speaking about how I conduct myself, listen, you can do whatever you want, whatever makes you happy, live and let live. I believe in that. I'm not about, beating up anybody who chooses to go down that path of changing their sexuality and stuff like that. Listen, whatever makes you happy, that's fine. But you need to tell these guys that are approaching you what you really are. Because if you're going to go around and you're going to, portray yourself to be a woman, and then when a guy gets in that position after having you giving him head and kissing him and things like that, getting his feelings all caught up in you, thinking that you're a woman, and then he finds out that you're a guy, I mean, you might get pounded on, you might get killed. A lot of things can happen. So I think it's only fair to the guy that you're engaging in that you tell him straight up, like, listen, I used to be a man and now I'm a woman. Whatever you got, however you break the news to him, just let him know. Only because it's only fair. It's only fair, and plus it protects you. And then you can find out the man's true feelings, because he might be into that. And then you can have an honest encounter with a guy that knows who you really are, and then maybe something nice can come out of it. But if you're going to come off starting out with a lie, and then you're in a situation where you're compromising your safety by having him figure it out without you putting it out to him, it might cause you some bodily harm. And you might put yourself in a situation where you might have to kill your attacker, and then you're locked up behind bars for what. A lot of things can happen. A lot of things can happen. So I just think that what my man went through, I commend him for keeping his cool, because he's a little bit of a hothead, and I am surprised that he didn't strangle him or smack him around or whatever. But I guess the shock of him being told that he was making out with a guy was enough to get him to not react, because he was processing this information that, I don't know, it good for him, just good for him. But what he went through, he didn't see a woman, he saw a man at that point, and it just totally changed his demeanor, and he woke up from that, and he had to get out of it. He had to get out of that situation. So good for my man that he came through it okay. And to this day, I don't talk to him about it, and he don't talk about it, and he's a lot more cautious with the women that he brings home now. I don't know if he's, it's not like you go to a bar and you meet a girl and you're sticking your hand straight up a skirt right away to find out if there's a penis there or whatever. You can't do that. But I think that before you leap, you gotta look. You gotta find out. Like, I don't know. How would you actually start something to say, listen, are you a man or a woman? I don't know. I don't know. It's really scary, because the women that I saw, Maury and Jerry Springer, guaranteed 10 times out of 10, if they walk in the street, a man is hollering at them, not knowing that's a man. Guaranteed, because those women looked better than a lot of women that I see. Better than a lot of women. So I don't know. Am I scared? Not really, because I don't know. Maybe I am. Maybe I'm a little cautious, or a little. How would I say? Maybe the word caution applies here. It's a better word to apply it to when you're approaching a woman. But some women you looking at, as a woman, and then they turn out to be a guy. Can you question sexuality about that? I don't think so. I don't think that you should ever question your sexuality when you and a lot of men are looking at a woman and then you take it home and find out it's a guy. You're not gay at that point. You just got tricked. You got tricked, and you just have to be careful.